Hey guys, it's the founder of Developers Academy and creator of the new online training program for you called Total iOS Blueprint. We will teach you how to become a world-class developer and build a portfolio of more than 15 iOS apps. Welcome back to your second part, the second part in our 4-part training series on how to build an iOS app. Thank you guys so much for joining in this series, and also for all of your questions and comments and sharing this series. So many people jump in this series and we are building wonderful apps here. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I enjoy creating this for you. So in the last video, in part 1, we talked about all the tools that you need to start building iOS apps. And the most important thing is you have to start now. You have to start right now to build apps because the tools are already there. The language is so simple to learn. All the tools are already there. All the training materials are laid out step by step here for you. All you need to do is start. Don't buy into the myth that you must have tremendous programming experience to start. You need to start now and learn and embrace the struggles, embrace the challenges. So talking about challenges, here's my test for you. Have you complete the last code challenge that I offer you in the first video? If you haven't, please pause this video, go back and do your code challenge. If you can't, why don't you post your question below, or why don't you download the starter project, the complete project that I post there for you, and see how would I do it, how we make it happen. So that is how you start. That's how you make progress. So in the first video, we talked about what are the tools you need that you need to start now, and how we can start building apps. We talk about how we build the UI user interface for our motivational quote app, and also we start to explore Xcode. There's a lot of options, but now in this video, we are going to make some real changes. We are going to program. We're going to write code. If you see right now, when you run the app right now, we see the complete app. We have the text label, the quote, we have the image of the author, we have the name of the author, and we have an Inspire Me button. But when we click onto the Inspire Me button, nothing happens because we haven't tell the app to do anything. When we click into the Inspire Me button, it just stays there because we just drag and drop a button, an image, a label into the canvas, and then we leave it there. So our job in this video is when we click onto the Inspire Me button, we will tell the app to display a new quote. So I guess that when you go out there and tell people that I want to program, I want to be a programmer, I want to build apps, I want to be an app developer, and people says that, hey, you should learn how to program, how to code. So what is that exactly? Well, my definition of program of code is that you give the computer or the phone some instructions to do something. So now, if let's say you and I meet at New York City and I want to go from Times Square to the Empire State Building. So you have to tell me the exact instruction. Go straight, left, right, or fly on the sky, right? So that's the same thing that you do for the computer. You show it exact instruction. 1, do this, 2, do this, 3, do that, and then continue. Now, it's the same with real life example too. When you want to tell me something, you communicate with me. If you want to tell me something to do, you use a language, right? When we talk with each other here, we use English. When I talk with you, I use English. With a computer, you will need something we call a programming language. It's the same language, it has vocabularies, it has syntax, it has structures. So what we are going to do is we learn the language, we learn the syntax, the vocab. So let's go right into our demo and then we will learn how to program. Will we? Alright guys, let's open up our Xcode project from the last video in part 1 of this series, and we will continue with our project. Here we go. I have a tons of project that I am working on right now. Each folder like this is our project. So I will double click onto the folder and you'll find out that we have a folder called quote, and the other one called quote.xcode Project. So let's just explore things around. When I click to the quotes folder like that, it is the name of our project, right? So when we open like this, notice that we have the things that basically is in our project navigator. We have app.delegate.swift, we also have assets.ac assets, and we have another one called ViewController.swift. Alright, so what this does is the Xcode project in here, it's just organize the stuff that Xcode actually created for us in the project. So now, because we want to work with our iPhone app via Xcode with Xcode, so let's just open up the Xcode project by double click onto the thing. So here we go. This is the project since the last video after the code challenge that we left off, right? Here is the code challenge. I just simply do the image, the author image, and the author name like that, and then change some of things like the size of the author and the name of the author. And I would change the color of the author name and also the font size of the author label also. Remember, this is an image and this is a label, right? So pretty much that's it. Now, in this video, what I want to do is when we click onto, let me show you the project. When we click onto the Inspire Me button, previously in the first project, when we click into the Inspire Me button, nothing happens. But now, if I click onto this guy, there's a new quote display. There's a new quote display. It means that the app starts to work. The app starts to listen to our instructions, to do our instructions, or in other words, we are programming the app to do some things that we want to, right? So now let's do this. Well, in order to program, we cannot just simply drag and drop anymore. We have to write code. Alright, so let me show you. In the app, in the project navigator like this, you see quotes, right? Here we have another file called ViewController.swift. Let's open that up. Whoa, when you open this up, there's a lot of code here, but don't worry about it right now. I know that I tell you that don't worry about things a lot in this series, but I really mean it. I really mean it because I don't want you to get too obsessed with so many things at once because it just overwhelms you. So what I want to do is I will highlight all of these code inside. Notice inside from line number 11 to line number 24. Inside that, I will hover that and delete it. Oh, by the way, if you see that the text in your Xcode project, in the text editor, it is too small or too big or in the style that you don't want to, let me show you how you can change that. In the menu bar, just select Xcode, select preferences like that, and then it will show up the preferences. Select the font and color on the top here, and then you can choose the things here. Okay, by default it's something like that, or the basic style is really small text. If you want to, you can use presentation large, which is the thing that I'm using with you here. Or if you want to have custom font, custom size, I usually just select one of this, hold Command A to select all of these types. Okay, Command A, and select the T over here, the T button, and then we'll have the font editor like that, the font picker, and then we have everything. Alright, now you can change it. Oh, another thing is that you can actually select this text editing, and then in the editing tab, you see the show line numbers. So if I do select it, I see the line numbers over here. If I unselect the line numbers, it disappears. But the line number is really cool so that you can see the things that you're working on and you can navigate the project with me. Alright, come back to our code. Let's come back to our code. What we want to do is, when we click onto the Inspire Me button, we will show another quote, right? So, think about it. If we want to show another quote, there must be a way for us to communicate with the app. Somehow, we have to communicate from this thing is called class ViewController. Again, don't worry about that. We must somehow connect from this code here to the UI, which is in the thing in our main.storyboard, right? The thing from the main.storyboard, it translates to the thing you see in the simulator or on your phone. So somehow, when we click onto the Inspire Me button, there must be a way for us to execute, to do something with the code here. That's why, in order to connect from your main.storyboard to the ViewController, to your code, you will do something very cool here. Let me show you. The first thing is we will select this ViewController, select it, okay, and then over this thing over here, the 6 buttons over here, you see these 2 circles intertwined. It says the assistant editor. Okay, so now let's select this assistant editor. Cool. Alright, so what happens is it displays on the left hand side. I will hide that project navigator. On the left hand side, we have our main.storyboard, pretty cool. On the right hand side, we have our ViewController, the file that we just see. So if you don't see the ViewController, chances are the bar over here, you can choose automatic and then ViewController, or you can do manual, quotes, and then quotes like that, okay? And then you choose the ViewController like this. Alright? Now, the question is, whenever we click onto the Inspire Me button, we want to execute some code. We want to do something, right? We want to change the text of this label. We want to change the image of the author, and we want to change the text of the label of the author name. So that's number 2. Number 1, we have to detect the action. We have to detect the action of the Inspire Me button, that the user tapped onto that. Number 2, we have to change the text of this quote label. We have to change the name of the author and the name of the image of the author and the name of the author. So in order to do that, number 1, let's deal with number 2 first. We want to change these 3 things. We have to make a connection from our UI to the code. So here's the very special thing. You hold the control key, okay, the control key on your keyboard. Hold the control key and then drag from this guy, let's see this thing, drag from the label here to the file, to the ViewController. Inside, notice it has to be inside these 2 curly braces. See the curly brace? Inside that. And then we have a line here. It says insert outlet or outlet collection. So I will drag that and drop it. Release that. And now you'll see there's a drop box. There's a drop up, like a pop up like that. It says connection. It is an outlet. Oh yeah, this is the thing I want to do. I want to have an outlet, a connection from our label to the main.storyboard, right? From a label to the main.storyboard. So that whenever we want to change from our code, we'll make the change to the main.storyboard. So here we can choose the name of this because it displays the text of a quote. So we name this quote and then text, but the T is capitalized. And then because the typed, notice the typed is a UI label. It is a label. It's the thing that we drag from the object library, the object palette, to our main.storyboard, right? So I also note that this is a label. So let's click connect like that. Oh hey, did you see that? Did you see what happens? What happens was that Xcode just generated this line of code for us. It says IBOutlet wick var quote text label. Oh, this is the name of the thing that we just give the outlet, right? And the type is UI label. All right, so that's one thing. And to make sure that you change this thing, if you hover over this, I think there's a bug in my Xcode, but don't worry. If in your Xcode, if it works correctly, if you hover over this thing, it's the circle field here. then the label, it will be highlighted. Alright, so that's cool. Next, let's do this image. Again, I will hold the control key, drag from the image to the line below here, and release it. Now, notice, now we still have the connection as an outlet because we want to have a connection from the UI element to our code. But now, the name here, the tag is a UI image view. UI image view. It means that it is a view that displays an image. In this case, is the author image. So I will name this. The name is author image, again with the capital I, and a view with the capital V, because the type is a UI is an image view. So let's connect. Awesome. Now the last thing you want to do is this author label. So can you pause the video? Just pause the video a little bit and then do it. Just make an IBOutlet from the UI to our class ViewController, to the ViewController over here, and then come back with me. Alright, I hope that you complete the little code challenge today. So now I will do it like this. So we'll hold the hold the control key, drag from the Steve Jobs like that, and then I will make a connection over here, release it. Pretty fun, right? Now we have the name. The name here, let's do author label. Or actually, let me do author name label. And then we have the type is UI label. Now, if you have a different label, you have the name differently than this, okay? And if you want to make sure that you have the same name as mine, then if you change it like this, so let's say I want to have like the author label, just simple like that. And if you do it like that, if you run the project now, so I will run it so you can see. If I run it right now, alright, just run it. It's running. Oh, hey, nothing happens on my screen. It blanks out, it's white. The previous time we run it, it happens. It shows the app. But now nothing happens. It's some red thing. It may be bad, right? And below here you see a lot of text. It says LIBC++ IBAction, something weird. And we have terminating with uncaught exception of typed NS exception. Something weird happens. Okay? And now this thing is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first bug or the first crash that you are introduced to Xcode. Now, what happens is that there's an error in our code that it breaks out or it crashes our app. So what I'm going to do is I will scroll this text way up here. The text here is we called the debug area. Alright, now if you read this thing, terminating app due to, so it quits the app due to an uncaught exception, okay, some error with the reason here, it says set value for undefined key. Okay, this is weird. It says this class is not key value coding compliant. Okay, this just getting worse for the key author name label. Oh, hey, this is making sense because now the author name label was the old name that I give to this label, right? And then I change it into author label. So why does it know about the author name label? I change it into author label. So now I can explain that a lot with you, but that is the thing that you will have a lot. And I notice a lot of students in the Total iOS Blueprint, they have the same error. So here's the thing. I will go here. Now, with the first time when you make a connection from this Steve Jobs label, you name it author name label, right? And then you change the name of the label of the outlet in your app, in your class here, into author label. So what happens is, because the app is still running, when the app runs, this in the main.storyboard, it will search for something we call author name label. and it goes into this thing here. It says, okay, it finds the first line. Okay, it's not author name label. Let's skip it. The second line, not author name label. Let's skip it. Third line, author label. It's not author name label. So let's skip it until the end here. Until the end, it quits out. It still cannot find the author name label. So Xcode tells us, hey, you tell me that there is an outlet connects to this label, but now I cannot find it. So your app crash. Alright, so how we can fix that? Well, let's go over here. I will right click into the Steve Jobs over there. See that? And we see we have this thing, author name label. It says referencing outlets, author name label, right? And it connects to the ViewController. So one way we can do that is we will delete this thing and we'll make an outlet all over again. But now I don't want to do that, so I will just change the author name label into back, like that, author name label. So that if I run this once again, let's run it once again. Okay, so just remember, if you have that error again, just right click onto this label and then we have the outlets. It's very, very important. And I bet that you have that a lot. So now if we run it once again, it happens again. It shows the app again, very beautiful. But when we click into the Inspire Me button, still nothing happens. So let's deal with this. Now, what we want to do is, when we click onto this Inspire Me button, we want to trigger something in our code. We want to tell us from the UI to the code here, because again, the code is the place where you can give the computer the exact instructions. That's the only way that we can do right now. So when we click onto the Inspire Me button, there must be a connection from this thing to the ViewController here, right? So it sounds really familiar. It's the same like an outlet, but instead of an outlet, we will do something we call an action. So now we still hold the control key, drag and drop from the Inspire Me button to here below the outlets, and then I will drop it. Alright, you see, we still see the same connection outlet, but now I can click onto this. Instead of outlet, I want to do an action. So click the action, and then the name, let's change the name. The name here I will do Inspire Me, like that. Again, the me here with the capital N, and then we'll do that with the capital D, touch or tap. I will use tap. Inspire Me did tap, and then connect. Now you see that there's changes inside this. It's not IBOutlet anymore. It is IBAction, right? And then we have func Inspire Me did tapped, like that. Pretty good, huh? Now we can have this two curly braces. The curly braces, it means that inside this is your chance to write a chunk of code. So I'll press enter between these two. And now you see the thing, alright? So let me show you writing some code. Of course, we have been writing code, but now let me, inside this block over here, let's write something. Print, it means that I want to print something to the console, the thing that you see above here. And then open parenthesis. Here I will use quotation mark. I'm sorry, yeah, two quotation mark, opening and closing quotation mark. And then we have something like Inspire Me button was tapped, like that. And then close the quotation mark. Remember, you have to type in exactly like I am typing. Otherwise, you have errors. It's the same like English. If you said to me, Johnny, the dog bites Johnny, I understand that. If you says Johnny bites the cat, then it's weird, right? And in the case of computer, it doesn't make sense. So now, if I run the project, let's run the project and see how it looks like. We have run the project here. All right, here's my project. And looks what happened when I click the Inspire Me. Boom. Hey, you see that? We have Inspire button was tapped. It's exactly the thing that we just typed in here, right? So that's cool. It means that whenever I click the Inspire Me button, boom, it says Inspire Me button was tapped. So it means It means that inside this action, IBAction, the code here will get executed whenever we click into the Inspire Me button. See that? And it's the time for us to modify the things inside these outlets, and then we can change the quote, the image, the name of the author, the name of the image of the author. So I will delete this thing like that, and then let's create some new quotes. I will do let, alright, new quote equals. So what I'm doing is I will tell Xcode, I tell Swift that, hey Swift, create for me a new quote with the value of opening close quotation mark. Inside here we'll do no matter how small you start something that matters. I love this quote, alright? And then close quotation mark. Remember that you have to close the quotation mark. Below here, okay, press enter. Below here, let's do another one. Let's, hey Swift, create for me a new author with the value equals to Brandon Burchard. It means that we want to create a new author. The value is the name of the author, Brandon Burchard. That's cool. Next up, let's have the name of the image of this author. So if you go back into our, okay, I will put it something like this. Okay, just to show you. If you go back into our assets, the IC asset, you see we have a name of the author is Brandon Burchard, but with the capital, with the all lowercase like that, and there's an underscore too. So I'll go back into main storyboard here, clicking that. You don't have to do that along with me, but I just want to show you. So now I want to have let author image name. So hey Swift, create for me the name of the author image. With the name is author image name equals to Brandon underscore Burchard. Pay attention. You have to type in the exact thing that I am typing in right now. Otherwise, you will not see the same results when we run the project. That's cool. So now, the last thing we want to do in this video is we want to change the values of these labels. So start with this label first, the quotes. I will type in quotes text label. You see, Xcode generated or suggests for us, hey, are you referring to this quote text label? Oh yeah, we are referring to that. So press enter, and then we'll do dot text. Okay, and then I will do an equal, and then we'll have new quote like that. Alright, so now let's run the project and see how it looks like. Just run it right now. Don't worry about all the colors. Just run it right now and see how it looks like. Alright, when I click the Inspire Me, click that. Hey, it changes the text. It changes the quote. That's great. We are 50% throughout the project so far. So let's continue with this. I will pause the video. I'm sorry. I will pause the project. Here we have author. Let's do author image name. I'm sorry. Author image view. So we'll do author image view. And here, instead of text, because it is an image view, so it has a property called dot image. Alright, and then we'll do equals to UI image, open parentheses, and then we'll do named like that, and press enter. You see, we have the UI image named. So it says that I want to change the image of this author image view into the image, an image with the name of with the name of author image name, and close the parentheses with the name of this guy over here that we are using. See that? You see the same thing over here? Alright, so now I will run the project again just to make sure that the line of code that we just write works correctly. It's very cool in iOS that you can test it along the way that you build apps. So very recommend that. So now when we click the Inspire Me, click that. Hey, it changes the author name. How cool is that? Great job. Alright guys, so that is how you program, that's how you code, that's how you give the app instructions to do. Now, I want to give you a little challenge. My challenge to you this time is just very simple. Change the author name label of the author, right? We have a label for our author name. So what I want you to do is, when we click into Inspire Me button, let's change that into the new author variable or constant later on. In Total iOS Blueprint, we'll break it out every single step of the way. We'll explain all the things. I know. Hey, really, I have to apologize for you because in the way that I designed this course for you, there's a lot of things that I have to skip. There's a lot of things that I don't want to talk about or I cannot talk to you about, because if I do, it will take hours. If I do, it will just overwhelm you. What I want to accomplish, what I really want to accomplish in this series with you is that I want to give you a taste. I want to give you a feeling of how you build apps, a momentum that you can do it. You can build apps. You can just start right now and make things happen. Not wait things like that. Not to go in years and years of college or graduate school or anything, or anyone tell you that you have years of programming experience. You need to start right now. So start with this code challenge. When we click onto this Inspire Me button, there will be the author name changes for the label. So do me a favor, will you do the code challenge? Post your question or comments below. Post your question there, and I will be personally reply to your question. Do me another favor, will we? Share this video, share with this series with someone you think that they would love to create something that meaningful, that beautiful, that can change people's lives. And this is the first step for you to do that. This is the first step for your friends to do that. So I hope that you would do me a favor to share this series with your friends. And until then, I'll see you in part 3 of our series. In part 3, we are going to talk about how we can complete this app, how we can make more quotes, more images, more author names into this, so make the app so much more fun to do it, and you will learn so much more about programming and how to code an iOS app. So I hope that you enjoy this series. Until then, go out there every single day of your life, learn new things, craft your ideas, and contribute to the world. I see you in part 3.